I'm Ella Griffin, Autistic Nottingham's head of PR, and with me I have Cath Sutherland.
My name's Cath Sutherland. I'm from Nottingham Green Party and I'm standing to be an MP for Nottingham South.
Cath is going to be asked the same questions we've been asking every prospective Nottingham MP. So now my first question is, what forms of support do you think autistics in Nottingham need?
Well, I think it's to a large extent a matter of making sure that the people who are working with or interacting daily with autistic people understand the condition and how it might make people who've got autism perceive things a bit differently, and therefore from people who haven't got autism, and therefore you sometimes need to kind of adjust the way you interact to take account of that. For people with a severe level who count as disabled people, then we've got a whole set of policies for how we would support disabled people if we were in government, and also how we would support children with disabilities. But as far as I know, I'm not an expert, most people with autism don't count themselves as disabled. It's just a difference, and can lead normal lives, but just sometimes need slight adjustment to the way people interact with them.
Okay, and where would you allocate funds to improve life for autistics in Nottingham?
I think personally, apart from the obvious need for disability benefits for people with extreme need, and also the need for support in education, those are two very important areas for allocating funds. Obviously, I would consult with the relevant organisations if I had to make that decision, but I would say it's probably to have an education programme to raise awareness amongst employers and all the services that autistic people interact with, to try and educate the people working in those organisations as to what adjustments they might need to make when somebody has got autism.
And my next question is, what do you think of this government's current plan in terms of benefits, increasing the number of adults working?
I think it's cruel and horrible, and I'm really against it. I think that it's trying to demonise disabled people, and people I know who've got disabilities. It makes them really frightened that they're going to have their financial support removed, and that they're going to be expected to work when they can't, or do things that they can't do, and it's trying to make disabled people into some kind of scapegoat, and I'm wholly against it.
Right, so my next question, what would you do to support autistics in getting and continuing in employment?
I think I'm not an expert, and I would immediately consult with the Autistic Society or the relevant experts in real life. But if you had to make me say, off the top of my head what I think without consulting, I would say it's a matter of educating, what I said earlier. It's a matter of just making sure that employers are aware that just a slight adjustment sometimes is needed, and that some things can upset people with autism, or they can find some things very hard to deal with. But if you know what those things are, then you can just make small changes and maybe a little bit of extra support that makes it perfectly possible for autistic people to play a normal place in the workplace. But if people aren't aware, they might not react very well to certain things, and might make the working life of an autistic person quite difficult. When if you know and make the adjustments, then everything can work perfectly well.
And my last question is, how would you improve mental health services for autistics?
Well, mental health services for everybody need to be improved. There just isn't enough access to the support. I don't know, if I'm honest, whether autistic people need support that is any different from anyone else. Maybe special counselling or just general counselling. We all need counselling at times to help us when we're faced with difficult situations, and we find certain situations difficult and we want to talk it through with someone. But those services, the NHS mental health services, are so overstretched that really there isn't support available for people unless they become severely mentally ill and become sort of a danger to themselves or to other people. And therefore all that support that can just enable people to lead normal lives or happy lives isn't there, and can cause people to have breakdowns or situations to break down, when with just a bit of mental health support people could carry on leading a happy life or a normal life. And therefore I think it's the increase in provision, whether there are obviously also people who are counsellors or therapists need to be thoroughly aware of what the special characteristics of someone with autism are. Making sure people who provide mental health services have that awareness is another thing. But just there need to be more of the counsellors and therapists and so on.